Hi everyone, Salesforce Lightning Day 26. Let's see what are we going to learn today. Today's agenda is we'll quickly go through the previous session overview and we'll talk about the Lightning interface. What is the Lightning interface and how can we use the Lightning interface? And then we will talk about the Aura register event in Lightning interface and Aura method in Lightning interface. Then we will talk about the Lightning tokens and steps to create a Lightning tokens and how to create a Lightning design component. We will see that and we'll have today's interview questions. Now quickly, what did we learn in previous session?
Aura method and its attributes. Action override.
So in interview, they will ask that so far we have learned component event, application event, these events we have learned. In interview, they will ask that, can I perform the communication between the two components without using the component event, application event? If they ask this question, usually we think that only those two are the one. By using those two, we can implement the communication between the two components. But apart from the component event, apart from the application event, we can use the Aura method, which is action override method, and Lightning interface. Lightning interface also. By using the Lightning interface also, we can implement the communication between the two components. So what is the Lightning interface? So Lightning interface is basically whatever the reusability components are there. When I say reusability, let's assume that you have, there is an object, okay, inside that object, assume that there are 100 fields are there. There are 100 fields are there. Now let's suppose you are implementing a Lightning component. There are 5 Lightning components you are implementing it. For 5 Lightning components, you need to create an attribute, at least 50 attributes you need to create it. For each component, you need to create a 50 attributes, right? So that means if you are creating a second Lightning component, you have to create another, again, the same attributes, you need to define it here also. If you are writing the third component, same attributes, you need to declare it here as well. Fourth component, same attributes, you need to declare it here itself. That means I am repeating the declaration of attributes multiple times. I am doing it in the component. Multiple times I am doing into the component. In this case, what I can do is whatever these 50 attributes are there, these 50 attributes, I can store it into a Lightning interface. I can store it into the Lightning interface so that you need not to declare the attributes in any of these components. Out of 5, wherever you require these attributes, you need not to declare the attributes within the component. You can directly call this interface and start coding the main logic without declaration of the attribute. That is one purpose. So basically, Lightning interface is wherever the common use case is there, wherever the common resources, like a common resources are attributes. One of them are attributes. And then the other one is events. Events also, if you are writing a multiple times, you are registering it. Or multiple times you are, let's suppose you have a different components where it is registering the event multiple times. In that case, whatever the reusable component is there, you can push it to the Lightning interface. you can push it to the Lightning interface. Also, the Aura method. If multiple components are calling the Aura method, then what you can do is you can place it into the Lightning interface. So the purpose of Lightning interface is to move the reusable components to the Lightning interface so that Lightning interface will take care of declaring it only one time and any of the component call here. So that is the purpose of Lightning interface. So Lightning interface is a Lightning component where common resources shared with other component implementing in this. That means in Lightning interface defines component structure by defining the attributes, events, methods. You cannot declare any other thing in the interface. You can only push the attribute, the common attributes to the Lightning interface. You can push the event. We will see how to push the event. This event you can push it to the Lightning interface and Aura method. The action override logic, only that we can push it to the Lightning interface. Apart from this, you cannot push any other things. So Lightning interface only accepts the attributes, events, and methods. It does not accept other things. So an interface starts with Aura interface tag. Lightning interface starts with Aura interface tag and can contain only the tags of Aura attributes, register event, Aura method. Aura attribute to declare of attributes. Register event to declare of events. That means register event you can do it in the Lightning interface. Aura method for the methods. So you can declare the Aura method inside the Lightning interface. Aura register event you can declare inside the Lightning interface. Aura attribute you can declare inside the Lightning interface. So only these three you can declare inside the Lightning interface. Now let's go ahead and see. Let's assume that if you are using it, let's say that, let me open the Paint. Now, let's assume that I have a component here. This is a component 1. And I have another component, which is a component 2. And I have another component, which is a component 3. These are the 3 components. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement a Lightning interface. I'm going to implement a Lightning interface. In this Lightning interface, I'm going to declare the attributes. I'm going to declare the attributes. So like a name attribute, or company attribute, phone number, email, postal code, right? These are the attributes I'm declaring in the Lightning interface. Now, this Lightning interface is called from component 1 and the Lightning interface called from component 2 and the Lightning interface called from component 3. All of these are calling the Lightning interface. All of these are calling the Lightning interface. Now, using this attribute, using those attributes, what I'm doing is I'm implementing all of this. I'm implementing the Lightning input. Let's say that I'm implementing the Lightning input. Inside this Lightning input, I'm using the name and then value. Value I'm giving it v.name. Now, the question here is, this lightning interface is a common for all these components. Now I have implemented a lightning import for all three components. For all three components, I have implemented lightning input. Now, whatever I enter in the component 1, that I'm storing into the name attribute. Does that mean this name attribute will show the result here? No, it doesn't show. Though multiple components are calling the same attributes, but it will not override. That means here I'm entering details called Ravi. So it will be within this. It will not pass the employee name Ravi here. For example, here I'm entering the different employee name. Bharati, I'm entering it. This Bharati will sit into the component 2 only. So this component is setting the Bharati name into this, but it will not send it to C1 or C3. It will not send it to any of them. Now in C3, I'm entering another name here. For example, I'm entering the Akash here. So that means though it is using the multiple components are using the lightning interface, but it does not share the record. It will keep it as a confidential. Whatever you are entering the in component 2, it will take that and it will store it into the confidential. It will not share it to the component 1. It will not share it to the component 3. Whatever is entered in the component 3, it will be with component 3 and here the name will be stored. It will not send Akash details here, it will not send. That means no conflict between the multiple components. So you are using the lightning interface for the everybody, but still you can handle it without sharing the data between the components. So there won't be any conflict between the components. Okay, so let's see the first one, which is called as a aura attribute. First one is aura attribute. We'll see how to create a aura attribute. So what I'll do is I'll create a file, close all, file, new. I'm creating the lightning event, lightning interface. I'm creating the lightning interface. We know lightning component, we know lightning application, we know lightning event. Right now I'm doing the lightning interface. Now lightning interface, click on this. Assume that I'm creating the lightning interface, L interface. Right? So whenever we create a lightning interface, I can see here the extension is INTF. Extension is INTF. For the interface, the extension is .intf. And then the component is started with aura colon interface and ended with aura colon interface. Started with aura colon interface, ended with aura colon interface. By default, it will give you this structure of the code. Okay, aura attributes also it will give you, but you can change here. For example, I wanted to capture the employee name. Type a string. I do not need a default and a description here. Similarly, I'll be adding another attribute here. Let's say that employee phone number. Employee phone number. Let's say ePhone. Let's say. Now I am storing the attributes into the interface. I'm storing the attributes into the interface. And what I can do is I can go to the lightning component. Let me create a lightning component. So it is LC_1. I'm creating the first component here. First, we have created the interface, right? Here we have given the attribute. Now, I need to call these attributes, whatever we have declared the attribute, that attribute I wanted to call here. Usually how we write the component, we write a component by declaring the attribute. And then what I'll do is, for example, if I have a lightning card title equal to, let's say the component details or employee details. Employee details. Inside this employee details, what I'll do is I'll create a lightning:input label equal to employee name and then value equal to curly braces exclamation b dot emp name. I'm creating a normal component. Any component, how do we create it? Like we declare the attributes and we'll create an input field here, which is a e code. Now, what I'll do is I'll also print the values here. Enter details. And what I'll do, I'll print name entered curly braces exclamation b dot employee name phone entered b dot e phone. This is how usually we write it. This is how we usually write it. Now, what I am doing is if I execute this component, let me execute this component. New, let me open the existing one. Start.app. Now, let's suppose right now C:LC_1 _ L interface. This is my component. This is a generic component, like casually how we write it. For a normal component, how we write it, that's the same thing. If I click on a preview, now here is the employee details. If I enter the employee details, let's say Rohit, it is printing the Rohit, and if I enter any number, it is printing it. So I'll just give a breakpoint, or let's say paragraph. Right, so whatever the data we are entering here, I can see on top. I can see on top, right? Now, this is the component, how we write it. Now, I need another component, same component I need it. I need another component where I'll be using these attributes. What I'll do is, as I have a multiple components which are going to use the same attribute, I'll take out this from the lightning component. I'll take out from, I'm removing the lightning aura attribute from the lightning component. I'm removing the aura attribute from the lightning component. Now, if I refresh, will my page will work? It is giving that attribute ePhone of the component is not defined because I'm thinking to define it in the interface. I'm thinking to define it in the interface. Now I have defined this into the interface. Now what I'll do is, in order to make a connection between these two, I need to use a keyword called implements. Implements equal to C colon. I need to pass the interface, lightning interface name. So L interface, this is my component name. Now if I click on a refresh, now if I enter, right, the data is coming from the interface. Where is the attribute? Attributes are declared in the interface. From the interface, by using this implements keyword, in the lightning component, I'm inheriting that what are the attributes are declared in the interface. I'm taking those data here and processing the information. Let's suppose I'll implement another component, file, new, lightning component. Let's say this is the second component. In the second component also, I need same information. Now I have two components. Now whatever I enter here, the data. Okay, so let me give in the application, the second component. Now here in the second component also, I do not have attributes here. Same interface I'm calling in two components. Now, whatever I'm entering the data here, for example, I'm entering here Sri Lakshmi. Is the data passed into the component too? No. It is only restricted here. Interface does not pass the data to the another component. Interface does not pass the data to the another component. Now, if I'm entering here the different name, this name is only for this, and whatever entered, that is the data is only with this component. So no conflicts between the component. So once you declare the attribute, once you declare the lightning interface for the attributes, you can use that interface for the multiple places. No issue with that. So basically why we use it in real time is in order to reduce the writing multiple declaration of attributes. Instead of doing that, just push that attribute declaration into the lightning interface so that this interface will handle all the attributes and rest of the logic, whatever needs to be happening in the component, you can carry on without declaring the attribute. In the real time, whenever you are analyzing a code, you see here there is some attributes are there, but there is no attribute declaration here. Then look at the implements, and go for this component. In this component, you will see the attribute declaration. Any questions here?
Swapna?
Yeah.
Can't we pass the handler as well? Is it only register event, attribute, what you said? Only these three things we can pass?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is attribute moving to the interface. The next one is, before going to the next one, homework for the aura attribute. implement a lightning interface to store all the attributes. Okay, so put everything, whatever the attributes you needed. For example, employee details or a candidate information, or let's take a patient data. Okay, so move this patient name, patient phone number, patient email, address, right? These all attributes, define it into the lightning interface. Now after declaring these attributes in the lightning interface, create a lightning component. Create two different lightning component by calling the interface, display those data. Basically, in the two components, you will be entering the patient name, patient phone number, patient email, address. Right? In one component, you will be entering it, and second component also you will be entering these details. So whatever you are entering in the component 1, it should not display in the component 2. Whatever you are entering in the component 2, it should not display the data into the component 1. So that's about the homework. Now, moving on to the next one, which is a Aura Register Event Lightning Interface. Aura Register Lightning Interface. Now, for this, what we used to do so far, like I used to create a application event, parent component, child component, and when I click on a save button, it calls from the child component, I'm firing the event, and then handler is done in the parent component. Child is firing it, parent is handling. Now, this is what we used to do, right? So let me go ahead and implement one example. Okay, in order to do that, so let's implement the lightning component. So I'm implementing generic lightning component here. CMP event. Click on submit. No, sorry, this is the component event. So I need to create a event. But in order to create a lightning event, which one do we have to select it?
Lightning event.
We need to select the lightning event. So let's see what MP event. Now, right now I'm going to implement the component event. Then inside this, let me pass some data here. In order to pass that, I'll declare the Aura colon attribute name equal to, I'm taking the employee name here, EMP name, type equal to string. This is the component event declaration. I'm done with the component event declaration. Now, next thing which I'm going to create it is child component. From the child component, I'm going to fire the component event. File new lightning component. So LC underscore child component. Now, this is my child component. Inside the child component, like what we do is we need to display the, let's take the same example like Aura colon attribute name equal to, this is the child employee name which is entering in the child component. Type equal to string. Type equal to string. Now I have a lightning card. title equal to, this is a child component. Child component. Inside the child component, I'm adding the input lightning colon input label equal to employee name. Employee name and the value equal to, I'll give the v dot c emp name. Now, fire the event should happen from the child component whenever I click on a button. So lightning colon button label equal to submit. On click equal to, I'm calling the JavaScript here, c dot handle submit. Now on click of this, I wanted to fire an event. So whenever I'm firing it, I need to write the register event in the component aura colon register event name equal to, let's say that I event and type equal to C colon, this is my event. Done. So I'm registering the event. Here I'm going to fire the event. Now let's go to the controller. Aura attribute. Now, in the handle submit, I'm going to fire an event. Whenever I'm firing the event, I have a attribute here. So I need to pass the attribute. From where I can pass the attribute, here I have a lightning input where the user is entering the employee name. So I'll capture this information where ename equal to component dot get. I'm capturing v dot whatever the user is entered, I'm capturing it. Once the data is captured from the child component, I need to pass this employee name to the event. I need to pass this detail to the event. So for that, I need to first get the event. So where evt equal to component dot get event. How can I get the event for the component?
Event name.
Event name.
Event.
I event.
So this is how I'll call the event. Now once I call the event, I need to use this evt dot
Dot fire.
set params because we have an attribute in the event. So there is an event. The attribute is inside the event is employee name. Employee name E. Whatever this user has entered, I'm passing that. And finally, I'm going to fire an event. This is my child component. Now the next one is I'm going to create a parent component. New lightning component. Now here, let's say P submit. Now here also I need an attribute. So I'll copy this attribute. Now instead of C employee, I'll say parent employee name. Now here I need to handle it. The event aura colon handler name equal to
I event.
I event. So I event, and then we have an event equal to C colon. My event name is comp event. Then action equal to curly braces exclamation C dot handle event. Perfect. I'm handling the event in the parent component. And what else I need? I need to display what is the data entered in the child component. I'm going to display in the parent. Lightning card, title equal to parent component. Now here I'll say employee name. Entered in child component. Now I'll display the data here. Curly braces exclamation V dot. What are the attribute name is there? Now I'll call the child component here. Let me call the child component C colon. Child component name is C colon LC underscore C underscore comp event. This is my child component. This is my child component. Let's save it. Now I'm displaying the data. I'm calling the child component. Now let's go to the handle event. In the handle event, I need to listen to the whatever the event is sending. So in order to listen that, I'll use the event dot get param EMP name. Now this I'll store it into the one variable. And then component dot set V dot in parent component, the attribute name is P employee name, comma, name. That's it. Right, so I'm done with all the steps. Now let's go ahead and call this from the application event. So from the application event, I'm going to call the parent component C colon parent component. Let's say, click on preview. Attribute dot set child component. See EMP name of the component. Any problem here? In component 21 line is not visible. Set params, employee name, e name. event.fire. What is missing?
Refresh it.
Mm-hmm.
Attribute
I
spelling
think
is wrong. I think
spelling mistakes. Spelling
Uh,
mistake. Yeah.
MP is a small here. In that
E
MP is-
capital, MP is
Okay.
small.
Okay, so let's refresh. Okay. Now, if I enter the details of employee, Tejo Kumar, and click on submit, it is coming into the parent. Now, this is normally how we do it in the component event. With the lightning interface, what we can do is whatever this register event is there, whatever the register event is there, this register event, I can place it into the lightning interface. I can place it into the lightning interface. So I'll take out from here, file, new lightning interface. So let's say li underscore comp event. This is my interface. In this interface, I'll remove the attribute and I'll place the register event. I'm just placing the register event from the child component. Now, here, in order to make a connection between these two, what I'll do is I'll say implements equal to C colon li underscore component event. That's it. Now, same implementation, I'll use it into the parent component. You have to use in the parent as well as the child. You need to use it in parent as well as in child. Now let's refresh. Now let's see. Raj Kumar. I'll click on a submit. Right, it is working fine. Now, just an observation. I have just moved the register event here. But actually, who is firing it? Firing is done by the child component. Firing is done by the child component. And it is referring the event here, event name, the component event name. It is referring the component event name, but I cannot find the component event name because I have moved the component event name into the lightning interface. Now, what is the purpose of having this register event in the lightning interface? What is the benefit that I can get it? The benefit is, let's understand first. So for with the component event, when I click on a submit, it is directly going to the event because here I am writing the register event and also I am firing the event. So when I fire the event, it will go here. And as soon as it hit the event, wherever the handler is there, handler is done by the parent. Handler is done by the parent. right? But in this case, whatever we are just now implemented the lightning interface using the lightning interface, what will happen is when I click on a save button, it actually calls the interface. It actually calls the interface. So first step is it calls the interface. It is calling the interface. In this interface, it is checking whether I have a registered event. If I have a registered event, then go back to the child component, then get that event name and fire it. Once it is fired, then what will happen is interface is going to hit the event. Interface is going to hit the event. Interface is going to hit the event. Now from the event, whoever is handling it, they can call it. So first step is when we click on a save button, it calls the interface. And from the interface, this will go to the event. And then from the event, whoever is handling it, it can go to here. It can go to here. But apart from this, there is one more benefit using the lightning interface. One more benefit using the lightning interface. So basically lightning interface, usually what we do is we will implement an application. We will implement an application. And inside that, I'll call the component 4. Inside my application, so this is my application here. Inside this application, I'm calling the component 4. And inside this component, I'm calling the component 3. And inside this component 3, I'm calling the component 2. Inside this component 2, I'm calling the component 1. Now, with the component event, if I'm firing an event here, fire can happen only one time. Fire can happen only one time. Now, that fire can be handled by the component 2, can be handled by the component 3, can be handled by the component 4. Right? It is up direction. Everybody can handle it. So one time you can fire it, multiple handling can be done multiple. But with the lightning interface, you can fire event multiple times. Similarly, multiple handlers can happen. That means multiple fire, multiple handling can happen. So for example, if your component 1, you are firing in the component 1. When you fire a component 1, definitely component 2 is going to handle it. So when you fire it, what will happen? It will hit the event, right? So first it will go to the interface. So interface is going to talk to the event and event will respond to the interface. Then it will come here. Whoever is handling here, handling is can be done by the component 2, component 3, component 4. But here what I'll do is in component 3, again I'll fire it. In component 3, again I'll fire. Whenever we are firing the component 1, component 2 can handle, even the same component also can handle, component 2 can handle, component 3 can handle, component 4 also can handle. But with this interface implementation, in the same structure, component 3, I'm firing it. 2 times the fire is happening here. Component 1, the fire is happening. Component 3, fire is happening. Now, whatever I'm firing in the component 3 can only be handled by the component 4. It cannot be handled by the component 2 because the component event is always in the up direction. Right, so whatever is in this scenario, this is firing is done, component 2 is handling, whatever the component 3 is firing it, component 4 is happening. Now firing is happening, same register event, but 2 times I'm firing it. I'm not writing the 2 register event here. Register event is same. Register event is same. I'm calling the same event. Register event is also same. And name of the event is also same, but I can fire it multiple. From the multiple component, I can fire it. From the multiple component, I can fire it and it can be handled in different parent components. Now, any questions? So the homework is same one. So implemented two different lightning component by calling the interface. Right? So component one, so interface, sorry, firing should happen in the component one, handle should happen component three. And again implement two components. Component three is firing it, component four is handling it. But make a connection of each of them. That means how you will implement your logic. First, you will implement the component one. You will implement your logic. This is component one. Now, from the component two, you are calling the component one. From the component two, you are calling the component one. Now you have again separate two components, but what you have to do is call the component two from the component three. So implement here component three, that should be calling the component two. And finally implement another component, which is a component four. Component four. So component four is calling component three is calling component two is calling component one, and finally component four is called from the app. From the app. Now what you have to do right now is implement here another event, lightning event, and also the lightning interface. Now, component one is firing it for the same one, and component three is also firing it. So this is what you have to see. So when you are firing in by entering the data in component one, when you are firing it, only component two should display the details. Component four should not display the data entered in component one. Component four should display only the data that is entered in component three. Only it should display the data entered in component three. So here the data should be displayed only related to component three. And here the data should be displayed only related to component one. Whatever you are firing it, it should not display here component one details, no. Because in between you have another fire. Any questions on the homework?
Ma'am, suppose we are giving any handler regarding to component one in the component four, it will work from the both component three and component four.
So basically you are using the same name. The register event is same. Okay, the event name is same. You are not changing the basically component four. You are calling the same event. Component one is also same event. Component one, component three, both are calling the same name. Your handler for the component two and component four is same.
Okay. Handler also in
handler also, you need to get the details of this.
Okay.
So when you get the details of this, it should display only the data related to this. When you use here, it should display only the data related to this.
I mean component, right? Not
Sorry?
the interface. Handler, auto handler should be in component, not the
Yes.
interface.
No. Handler we should not be keeping into the interface. Interface should have only the register.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Any other questions? Okay. So this is very rarely used in the real time.
Ma'am, actually, I can't understand the benefit
Mhm.
in this scenario.
Yeah.
That's the event is fire multiple times. What
Yes.
that mean?
Yeah. That's the benefit. If you have it, that kind of a scenario, then you can go with the using the lightning interface.
I mean, Sapna, suppose, okay, rather than using interface, I know interface, why we usually use interface is that, so to create a skeleton, right? So now we are creating a skeleton, and then all these components, they are following the skeleton. So like suppose if there is no interface and I want to fire from component 1 as well as component 3, then I would write register event in component 1, and then I'll write a register event in component 3. I think that way also it will work, right? If there is no interface.
Okay, so there is a, let's do this. I'm giving an assignment, okay. Using the component event, okay, implement the component event, create a 4 components. Fire the event in component 1, component 3. This is without interface. This is without interface, and register the event in component 2 and component 4. Tell me what is happening, whether you are able to do this or not. Okay, so the second one is with interface. Tell me whether you are able to handle it here. But here the structure you should have component 4, component 3, inside component 3, component 2, inside this component 2, component 1. This structure should be there. Okay, so this is the assignment. What is happening between these two? Okay, only one question I have is with the component event, can you fire multiple events? That is a question I wanted to check. Can we fire multiple? Can we do the multiple fire? Okay, so with that, you will be able to understand. Fine, so that's the use of the lightning interface where you can have a multiple firing and multiple handle can happen. And moving on to the next one, Aura method. Any other questions? Register event. Okay. So Aura method is basically action override. We have seen the action override. That means child component, child controller can be handled in parent controller. So if I have a child controller here, I have implemented a child controller method. There is a method which is implemented in child component. This child component I can handle from the parent controller. That means I can directly call the data and pass the data to the child component. Now let's go ahead and implement the action override method. File new lightning component. Let's say that action event, action interface. This is the child component. Okay, let's create the child component. Whenever we are creating the child component, again, I need a data here that needs to be displayed. First of all, I need a aura method. Aura method, where should I need to implement, in the child component or in the parent component? Where should I need to implement the aura method? Where can we implement aura method, in child or parent?
In child.
Parent or child? So basically what I'm doing is, from the parent component, I'm controlling the child method. I'm controlling the child method. So where should I need to write an aura method?
In child
Parent.
component.
In child component. Because we are, whenever it is hitting from the parent component, I need to handle that particular method in the child. So name equal to, let's say that action I action, and then I'll give an action equal to method is c dot handle interface. Let's take this handle interface. Now inside this, I'm going to define the attribute. Within the method, I'm defining the attribute. So let's take these names are these are method attributes. My method declaration is done. Now what I'll do is I'll display the data that is entered in the parent component. From the parent to child, I'm passing here, which is opposite to the component event. Action override is lightning colon card title equal to action override. Inside this, I'll display the data. Name entered in parent. So V curly braces exclamation V dot CEMP name. And then city entered. City entered in the parent, EMP city. Done with my child component. Now I need to implement a handler, this handle interface, the controller. No, I'll come to this later. First, let's go and implement the, because I need to listen to the parent. The child component listen to the parent. In the action override method, if I wanted to listen to the parent component, what is the command that I'll use it here? Action override method, if I wanted to listen to the parent component, whatever the parent component is sending the data, child component has to listen. We use, what we use it? Event dot get param. And inside that we have a arguments. Last class this is arguments. And then we will say component dot set. What I'll do is I'm going to set it to this component v dot the attribute, and inside these params. Last time we were not getting the data inside the params. The reason is we have mentioned the incorrect attribute name there. So right now I'm getting the data from the parent component and displaying the here. This is my child component. Now I'll go to the parent component. Parent component. Click on submit. Now definitely I need to call my child component. So I'll call this child component. In the parent component, the user is entering the data. The user is entering the data. So lightning colon card title equal to parent component. Now here, assume that there are two, we have a two attributes. So I need a two input. To input, lightning colon input label equal to, this is a name entered in the parent, and I'll take a value here. So value should be stored in the attribute. So what I'll do is I'll take the attribute here. Now this is a parent employee and parent employee city. Curly braces exclamation v dot employee name. Now, same thing I needed for the city. The employee state, the city. On click of the button, because after entering the data, the user has to click on the button. So lightning colon button label equal to submit on click equal to curly braces exclamation c dot handle submit. Done. Right. So let me go to the controller. In the controller, whatever user has entered, I'll try to get those information. So component dot get v dot the parent employee details. I'll store it into one variable. And then we have a city. Component dot get v dot emp city. Now I need to call the child component. I need to call the child component from the controller. How can I call it from the controller for the action override? I need to call the child component from the parent controller, because I need to pass the data. Whatever the user has entered the data, I need to pass it to the child component. How can I do that? What do we have to do it in the component in order to call the child component? Action override method. What we have to do?
The name of the method dot.
Sorry, Archana.
Into the name of the method and then dot something like that.
We need to specify the Aura ID.
Or ID.
We need to specify Aura ID here. This Aura ID, we need to call it in the controller. So component dot find my child component. How can I find it? Using the Aura ID. So this I'll store it into the a child variable. And right now, child dot, what is my method name there? I action. Do I need to call this or do I need to call this? Which one do I need to call it?
I action.
I
action. And then we have to pass the data. Name, comma, city. That's it. Action override. Action override is opposite to the lightning component event. What we are doing in the child component, I'm implementing the Aura method. And while implementing, I'm giving a name to it, calling the action. And whenever the user click on it, whenever the child component receive the information from the parent component, I'll try to get the information and I'll try to process the details and display into the child component. Now, let me test this. Lightning component, let's copy this parent component. File, open resource, application. C colon, the component. Now click on a preview. Right, so whatever the data that I enter in the parent component. So let's say Madhu Mohan and the city Hyderabad. Click on submit. The data is not passing. Reason. Let's see what are we getting here in the params console dot log JSON dot stringify params. Empty data I'm getting. Empty data I'm getting. So that means whatever is from the parent, I'm not able to capture the data from the parent component. It's not coming. Let's go to the parent component. Here it should be comma. So let's refresh. And the city Hyderabad. Click on submit. Now the data is populating. This is action override. This is action override. Whatever we are discussing so far, these all are communication. These all are communication between the two components. So this question will come up in the interview. What are the different ways we can communicate between the two components? Now what I'll do is, whatever we have this child component, whatever we have the child component aura colon method, I'll take out this aura colon method from the child component. I'm removing the aura colon method. Let's click on save, file, new, lightning interface, action interface. Click on submit. Now here I'm going to place the aura method. I'm going to place the aura method. I have just taken out the aura method, the complete aura method from the starting to end. Everything I have taken out and I'm placing it here. Let's click on save. Now let's go to the child component. Here, implements equal to the child the lightning interface name C colon interface name. In the parent component also we have to give the same. Save it. Now let's refresh. Sivita, Chennai. Click on submit. Yes, the data is coming. Now what is happening in here? I have implemented a parent component. I have implemented a child component. Now, initially what we done is child component is called from the parent component. In the parent component, I'm directly hitting it because aura method is here previously. Previously, aura method is in the child component. So directly I'm implementing the aura method here, calling it from the parent component and the passing the data, whatever is entered in the parent component, passing to the child component. Right? So now what we are doing is with the lightning interface, child component is still called from the parent component. It is still called from the parent component. Like in the parent component, we have a name city. Once the user enter the name city and click on a submit, it calls the handler. There is in the parent component, we have a method called handle submit. In the handle submit, what I'm doing is I'm calling the child component. I'm calling the child component. First, I'm calling the child component. First, I'm calling the component here, component.find the child component. This is my child component. iChild is nothing but my child component. So first it is hitting the identifying the child component. That means it is going to the child component. Once it goes to the child component, we have a certain data to display here, certain data to display. But when it goes to the child component, do I have anything here method? Here in the child component, I have a method called handle interface. But do I have a handle interface here? I'm not calling the handle interface from here. Handle interface is called from lightning interface. I have a child controller here, but this controller is not called from the component. This controller is called from the lightning interface. Inside the lightning interface, I have a register event, and that register event is calling the child component. That means The direction will be, first it will come to the child component, and from the child component, there is a no method is here. It will go back and it will check, is there any implements is mentioned here? And do I have any implements is mentioned here? Yes, then first go to here lightning interface and check whether the register event, the method, and call that method here. Call that method here. Now, in this case, multiple parents and multiple childs can hit the same interface. Multiple parent, multiple child can be hit in the same interface. So homework for the Aura method, implement a lightning interface to store the override method and along with that attributes. And implement two different lightning components calling the interface and call the child component from the parent component and see whether how the data you are getting it. So also note down the observations, whatever you are doing it. Note down the observations for this. Any questions before I move on? We are done with the lightning interface. Lightning interface of attribute. We have seen the attribute. We have seen the register event. And we have seen the Aura method.
Ma'am, small note. Generally, we write the Aura method in the child component, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because component event is, just remember this, component event is from child to parent, up direction. Method is parent to child. It's opposite direction.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions? Next, we are moving on to the lightning tokens. So basically, this lightning tokens, also called as a design tokens, also called as a design tokens. If you go to the lightning design system, if you go to the lightning design system, we have a option called design tokens. We have a option called design tokens. So design tokens, lightning tokens, both are same. Design tokens and the lightning tokens both are same. So we call the lightning tokens is also a design token. In interview, if they ask about, do you know the lightning token, which is nothing but they are asking about the design tokens. Now using this lightning token, so tokens are basically for the styling. Tokens are for the styling, the CSS styling. For the CSS styling. Now we have a multiple ways to implement a CSS styling. Like you can go to the style component and you can write your own style sheet here. You can write your own style sheet here, or else in the static resource, you can upload a common file and you can implement it. You can call that file from the lightning component and you can implement the style. These are the two ways which we have seen. There is another way in the Salesforce which is called as a lightning token. Why they have come up with the lightning token is, let's assume that in entire org, in entire application, I have a standard, the colors, standard ways are there, right? So one way is I need to call this the style sheet You can go with the loading the style sheet in the static resource. That is also available, and this is also available. So whichever the one you feel it, you can go for it. So lightning tokens are, for example, inside this organization, we have a multiple tabs. Let's take an example of ICICI Bank. If you go for ICICI Bank or Axis Bank, right, they have a everywhere the color combination is, wherever the banner is there, it's a red color. Wherever the footer is there, red color. Wherever the Axis Bank is there, red color. Right. So kind of they have a certain format of or font or the size and the background color, everything, where to display the text. Does this text needs to be displayed here or this side on top or this side on top, right? So everything they are going to design it. So for CSS purpose, we have another option which is called as a lightning token. And what is the use of lightning token? We will see that. Now, it is basically collection of custom CSS styles to be applied. That means you can combine all your CSS styles into the lightning token, and you can use that lightning token inside the component. So lightning tokens are nothing but collection of custom CSS styles that we will be implementing it across the component. That means wherever in the component, if you wanted to use it, you can use that component. You can use that component. Now, lightning token consists of token bundle. That means it has, we will see that what are the token bundles and token collection. So lightning token starts with aura colon token. Starts with aura colon tokens. And inside these tokens, we have an individual token. Like syntax is aura colon tokens. And inside this, we have each individual token. So tokens is the plural, and then we have a singular here. Now, design tokens or lightning tokens are divided into two types. One is SLDS design tokens, which are by default is Salesforce is providing in the lightning design system. So the one which we can see here, whatever the design tokens are there. Like with the SLDS, I can perform padding or anything, border, and I can perform anything, right? So these are the SLDS tokens. Those are SLDS default tokens, which are available for everybody. And Salesforce is providing that we can find it in the lightning design system. Second one is a custom design token. Custom design token. In the custom design token means developer need to implement the design tokens. Developer needs to implement the design tokens. Whenever we are implementing a design token, the custom design token, the first step is you need to implement a default token. There should be a default token inside the system. There should be a default token inside the system. That means developer has to create a default token. So there should be a custom component, custom lightning component with the name of default token. With the name of default tokens. And then you can implement your own custom tokens also. Now, let's see what are regarding the custom design tokens. So in order to implement the custom design token, the first step is you need to create a lightning token called design tokens. Lightning token called design tokens. Default tokens. So let's go to the developer console. File. Next, we are moving on to the lightning tokens. So we have seen the lightning application, lightning component, lightning interface, lightning event, lightning token. The last one is a lightning token. For this lightning token, I'll say token, click on submit. Oh, sorry. I have given a different name. So let me create a new one. lightning token. So first token always has to be default tokens. Default tokens. So it should be default, should be the small letters and with the capital T tokens. This is the standard name. You cannot change the name. If you do not create this default token, your tokens will not work. The CSS will not work. You have to create a default tokens. That is mandatory. Need to create a default tokens. That is mandatory. So now I have created a default tokens. Now inside these tokens, we have a single Aura colon token, which is available. Aura colon token, which is available. These are the single tokens. Now, in this default tokens or the custom tokens, what you can do is you can build your CSS. You can build your CSS. Usually for the CSS, we go for the style component. We go for the style component, but we do not have a style here. There is only one which is called as a tokens. Inside the tokens only, you have to build your CSS. You have to build your CSS. So Aura colon token equal to name. You can give, for example, org margin, and then value equal to, let's say, 100 pixel. Now what it will happen here? Now this name I'm going to refer in the component. So ultimately what will happen is whenever I open the Aura component or a design, now this is there, right? So here I have a certain styles. Now whatever I'm doing in the component here, what will happen in the CSS is Salesforce is going to convert that into the margin 100 pixel, right? Whatever I have written, it will convert into the margin 100 pixel. If I refer that token in the component. So whatever CSS level we are mentioning here, so whatever we are mentioning in the CSS level, margin equal to 100 pixel, that I'm converting the 100 pixel as a value. And instead of specifying the margin, I'm just giving a name to it. I'm just giving a name to it. Similarly, I'm going to give a name. Padding. I'm going to add a padding org padding. And let's say value equal to, let's assume I wanted to add 10 pixel. These are the two tokens I have added. That means two design tokens I have added, two CSS I have added here. These are sitting in the system. These are sitting in the system within the default tokens. Within the default tokens it is sitting. So this is the first step. Step one is create a lightning token with the name called default tokens. With the name called default tokens. Now specify the required CSS, which is nothing but Aura colon token, name equal to org margin, value equal to what are the 200 pixel or 300 pixel, right? So what are the required CSS is there? We have mentioned in the Aura colon token. Second step is create a lightning component. I'm creating the lightning component right now. Lightning component LC underscore. Let's say this is the first component. Click on submit. Now, in this component, I'm just going to print some value. Let's say text, I'm going to print it. Welcome to the Salesforce World Tour. Okay, this is my text. Now, if I execute this component, if I run this component, it will display normal text. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to apply a CSS here. So let's say that main. I'm going to build a CSS here. In order to build this, so let's copy this, go to the style component. Inside this style, I'm going to paste that data dot main. Now, what we used to do is we used to write like this: margin hyphen top colon 100 pixel. Like this we used to write. Instead of writing 100 pixel here, what you can do is go to the default token. Go to the default token, get this token, specify in the format of token, and you can specify here. Token, whatever the margin top. If you want to add a margin left, margin left. Same thing I wanted to add. So basically this is referring the token. Is anything wrong? N. Token. Now I'm adding the same token here. So in the real time, I have a default token, so it is saying.
Ma'am, actually,
Spelling
token
default
spelling
token.
mistake.
Default, okay. Let's copy this. File, new. Lightning token. Default tokens, click on submit. I have this, now I'll close this. Save. Now let me give token. See, it is not accepting it if you do not have a default tokens here. Default tokens component is not there. System will not allow. Because whenever I say here token, it is ultimately going to this component. Ultimately going to this component and it will check, do I have this name? If I give a something else name, let's assume that I'm giving a different name. Say one, let's save it. Org margin was not found on the tokens. It does not accept it. Whatever is available in the tokens, that's the same thing it will take. That's the same thing it will take. Now let's click on a save. Now in case if you wanted to add few more, you can add it. But right now, let's check this, whether it is showing the data or not. Okay, so file, open resource, let's open the application. C colon LC underscore 1 underscore default tokens. Let's click on save default. Click on preview. Okay, so it is applying the CSS here. See, right now I have not given any 100 pixel or a 200 pixel. I have not given in the CSS. CSS, I have just mentioned the token. Now, if I change here, for example, if I change here in the token, automatically my component or our application will be updated. See, here it is displaying. If I say here 500, it will display. I'm just changing the token. I'm not changing the component. When I change the token, CSS is also getting affected here. So if I change at one place, all the components who are referring this default token, everybody can, everywhere it will be reflected. Now, This is the default tokens. Using the default tokens, I have created the lightning component, and inside the lightning component, I just call the token using the syntax called token, and I'm calling whatever the custom token CSS name is there. I'm calling that, and I have created a lightning app. This is fine, but let's assume that I wanted to create another lightning token. I wanted to create another lightning token, but it has a different name. How can I implement the different token, and whatever I'm writing here, the CSS, those should be also applied here. Let's suppose, for example, I'm implementing few more Aura token inside my custom token. Right now, I'm into the different token here. I'm not into the default tokens. So here I'll say that org background color. Let's take org background color. So this is my background color. And similarly, I'll add org border. Border color. I'll add the same thing. Right, so I added the org border and border color. Let me add the width also. Width, let's say that 500 pixel. Now I have added the background color, border color, and border width. Now I wanted to call this or background color. I'll copy this, I'll go to the CSS, I'll say here background color token. Now it's not allowing me. It's not allowing me. Whenever you are implementing the custom one, just specify here extends, specify in the token extends equal to force colon base. Force colon base. This is for the token. Force colon base. Now, once you implemented it, let's see it is accepting or not. Still, it will not accept, because ultimately when I say here, when I say this, it only going to this one only, where this token only. It's not even hitting this. It's not even hitting this. If I want to hit this one, if I wanted to hit this and check the token in this component, not in the default component, check the token in whatever the custom token component is there, check there. Do not check it here. For that, what I'll do is, I'll say here in the default tokens, extends equal to C colon token. Let's say. And in the CSS, let's say, now it is accepting it. That means I'm extending the default token by calling the tokens. By calling the tokens, I'm extending it. Now what I can do is I can go to the CSS. I have added the background color. If I want a width, I can add the width token. width is org border width. And similarly, let me specify height. Along with this, if you wanted to custom, you can specify it, you can specify. That's not an issue. Custom combination of that also you can do it. So like this, it is displaying it. The border, the background color, right? If you want a color change, if you want a font color to be changed, you can change it. But this is how we implement the custom token. Step 1, create a default tokens. If you want to add any tokens here, you can add it. And in case if you want to go with your own custom token, go with your own custom token, but you need to extend the token here. You need to extend the token here. And then you can specify all the tokens in your organization, what are the tokens are there. You can implement all these tokens. Now let's suppose I have another token. I have another token. Do I need to write the another token here? Let's say I have a token 1. I have a token 1. Now, can I implement multiple tokens here? Comma, C colon, token 1. It is not accepting it. Maybe I should not give a token C colon, not accepting it. That means it will accept only one token. But in case if you have a multiple tokens, what you can do? In case if you have a multiple tokens, what you can do? So the token 1, you need to connect it to the here. Token 1, you need to connect it here. So that means you have a default token. Default token is connected to the first token. And this first token is connected to the another token. Now, whatever the CSS are mentioned in token 2, token 1, and default token, everything will be working. I can access this, everything can be accessed. All of this can be accessed from the component. But only thing is that all these tokens has to be connected each other. All this has to be connected each other. The connection you can implement only by using the extends equal to C colon token. Now, is it changing anything? Let's see, because I connected the extends one. No, it is not changing anything. Right, so that's how you will implement connecting to the custom token. Now, you might be asking the question, I have a standard design tokens here. I have a standard design tokens. Now, instead of writing the token here, I wanted to use the standard tokens. I wanted to use the standard token. For example, I have a font family. If you wanted to use a standard token, go to the CSS. And then what you can do is you can specify here. This is font family. Specify this, but only the change that you need to do is remove wherever the hyphen is there, wherever the hyphen and the next letter is there, remove that and add a capital letter. So that means if you go to the design token here, hyphen small f is there. So you need to add in your component font family. Now in this case, you have a hyphens font, wherever the hyphen is there, capital F, family. I have a hyphen, so capital H, heading. So wherever the hyphen is there, remove the hyphen, and then after hyphen, whatever the first letter is there, take that letter out and put the same letter back into the capital. Now, similarly, if I have this font family, or let's take this font label font size. So in this case, form label font size. In this case, form capital L label capital F font capital S size. This is with only Aura. Okay, not with the LWC. This is only with Aura. So in the Aura, whenever you are using the standard design tokens, you need to remove the hyphen. And after hyphen, what are the first letter is there? That first letter will be replaced with a capital letter. Now I have replaced the font family. Now let me use the another one. Let's say I have a font, let's take another one. Let me take the font weight. Font weight, I'll take this. Token. So wherever the hyphen is, letter, change it to capital. Capital T, capital F, and then capital W. That's it. Font family. What is around here? Okay, so let me change this. Okay.
I think Swapna in token 1 we have to do extends force colon base.
Yes. So I have updated into the token. Now it is saving that. Okay, so base is basically if you wanted to use the standard one, so you need to use the force colon base. Now it is accepting me the standard design token. Now in case if you wanted to add a color also, you can add the color. Now I have increased the font, I have changed the font family, font weight also. Let's refresh. Now right click, inspect. So here margin top, font family is added, font weight is also added. Font weight is also added. Just to differentiate, let me use this font weight bold. Font weight bold is this is for the family. So let's go ahead and use the font weight. Font weight bold. So let me change this hyphen W to capital W and the small b to capital B. Let's save it. Slightly, you will see the difference. See, right now it is coming in just a bold color. So right now I have a weight in the 700. So it is automatically converting into the CCC. Margin top, margin left, background color, whatever we have added. Right, so those all everything, see here, org margin, and background color, font family, whatever we have added is showing me all this here. From where it is coming from default tokens. From default tokens, it is bringing the data. Any questions in the design lightning token? Homework, implement a lightning token and pass the custom CSS to 3 components. Along with that, pass the standard design tokens also. Implement component 1, build a style component also. For the second component also build a style component. For the third one, build style component. And the next one is a design component. Design component. Now, so far we have completed all this lightning component. Now I'm talking about this design component. I'm talking about this design component. What is this design component? Now, if I click on this design, I can see that when I click on the design component, it starts with a design colon component and ends with design colon component. Ends with design colon component. Right, so let me create a new component here. Let's take normal component. Now, this is a design component. Click on submit. Now, in this, let me create a new one. File, new lightning component, design component. Let's close this. Let's refresh. Close all, file, lightning component, yeah. LC underscore design, LC underscore design. I'll go for using the lightning page, lightning record page. Yeah, lightning page, lightning record page. Click on submit. Right, I got the available per page, all pages, record home, record ID. Okay, so what I'll do is, I'll take a 3 attributes. Assume that I'm displaying on the page header, topic, and the object name. Or a colon attribute name equal to, let's take a header, type equal to string. And I'll give the default value to it. Let's say Salesforce or an attribute. Similarly, I give a topic. Topic type string, and let's give here topic is design. Design component. Now, let me print that div, and inside div, I'll use the h1 tag. I'll say welcome. Welcome to v.header. Welcome to Salesforce tutorial. Okay, so similarly, I'll give another div here where I have a paragraph, and I'll say topics. Topic. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and place this component into the one of the Lightning Flexi page. sales. Now what I'll do is I'll go to the account. I'll open the one of the record account. And then I'll click on edit page. Okay. Now I wanted to call that LC_design. So I'll place this design component on the account page, Flexi page. Observe this, whenever I place this component, here I don't see anything kind of a fields. Let's assume that there is a scenario. I wanted to capture object details. I wanted to capture the object details. That means this component, if I place in the account, or if I place into the contact, or if I place into the opportunity, when I place it, it should give me some option that which object I am placing it. Which object I'm placing it. That means I need to pass the data to the component from the Flexi page. From the Flexi page, from this app builder, I wanted to pass the input value to the component. Now, right now it is coming here, Salesforce, and then it is coming here, design component, right? It is coming this information. Now, let me erase this. Okay, so here it is saying that welcome to Salesforce, because I have given the default value in Salesforce in Lightning component. So that's the reason it is telling me that welcome to Salesforce. But what I need is from the Flexi page, I wanted to pass the details to this. I wanted to pass the details to component. If you want to pass the details from the Flexi page to the component, then we have to use design. Then we have to use a design. So design is basically, in case if you wanted to pass any data from the application, if you wanted to pass any data to the component, then you have to go with design component. So inside this, you need to specify the attributes. For now, we have a attributes called, these two attributes are there. But what you need to use, you cannot use the aura here because we are inside the design. It should be design attribute. It should be design attribute. And then type default does not work. So it should be label. What is the label that you wanted to display here? What is the label that you wanted to display? So I'll say that enter the header name. Enter the header name. Same with here, label, enter topic details. Enter topic details. Let's click on save. Now let me refresh this. Now let me place the component here. Now, as soon as I place the component, see two fields, it is displaying it. Enter the header name, enter the topic details. fields it is displaying here. If I change those fields, if I change my input value here, instead of Salesforce, I'll say Salesforce Lightning. And as soon as I click on this, here it is changing the value. It is changing the Lightning input. If I change here, let's say GPT, if I change to GPT, see, welcome to GPT tutorial. If I change it to the Apex, welcome to the Apex tutorial. So basically, design component, design resource is used to make an Aura component attribute available for admin to edit it. Admin to edit it. So when you build this kind of a components, for admin team, it is easy for them to pass the details here. Whenever they are placing the component, admin can handle what is the data that needs to be passed to the component. So in order to make the admin team to be flexible on this, so we can use the Aura attributes available in the design component. Now add the design : attribute node for the attribute into the design resource. So that's what we have added here, the design development control console. So design component, inside that I'm adding the design attribute. Now I'm giving here header and topic. Can I give any attribute here? For example, if I'm giving a topic 1, which does not there in the component, you can only give the attributes that are present in the component. In case here it is not there, you cannot give that attribute here. First, define into the component and then use it here in the design. First, you need to declare your attribute in the component, use the same attribute in the design. Now, design attribute has a few attributes like we have seen: name, label. That's what we have added here. So name is a header, label equal to enter the header name. And then we have a few more things: data source. So data source is like a pick list. Let's assume that I have a different attribute. Let's say I have a different attribute. Let's suppose this attribute name is object name. This attribute name is object name. For this object name, I'll say that enter object name. Now I need to define this in the component. Aura : attribute name equal to object name type equal to string. I'll save this. Now, if you observe this right now in the Flexi page, reload. I think I should save. Now again, I'm placing the design here. Now, if you observe here, object name, whatever I'm entering it. Whatever I'm entering here, basically I'm not displaying the data here. So for that, I need to go to the component and along with the topic, display the object also. Object name. Let's say, and let me refresh. Right now, the object is showing as a normal text. normal text. But in case if you want as a pick list, lookup search or a pick list, in case if you want, so then what you have to do is you have to use the attribute called data source. Attribute called data source. In this data source, you can specify like account, comma, contact, comma, opportunity. If you specify this, what will happen is on the Flexi page, whenever you refresh the Flexi page, instead of a text box here, what it will do is it will show it as a kind of a lookup search. It will show as a lookup search. See here, it is showing as a lookup search. If I highlight it, I can see all the information. I can see all the details. So in case if you want admin to choose it only from this pick list, do not enter any other values. So in that case, what you can do is for make it admin team to easier, you can use the data source attribute. By using the data source attribute, you can build the pick list there. And next we have a default. A default is in case if you wanted to display any default value. Required in case if you wanted to make any field as a required. Right now it is not a required any of them, but assume that enter object name is a mandatory. Enter object name is a mandatory. So sometimes admin team is not entering this object name. So what I'll do is I'll say this required equal to true. I'll say required equal to true. That means admin, whenever they are loading this component on the Flexi page, they have to make sure to enter the object name. They have to make sure to enter the object name. Now let's move on. To make the Aura component attribute available, this is the same screen. Now homework for the lightning design component. Implement a lightning component and add the component in lightning builder and pass the object name from the app builder and get the record details and display the 10 record on the component. That means implement the component. So implement the component if you or place here. So it should show the details. It should show the details. It should show the details. From here, pass the object details. That means account record or you want opportunity record. What are the object name is there? Just pass the object name there. Now from that, what will happen is get the details, whatever is entered in the object. Now, after getting the object details, what you need to do is you need to go to the server-side controller, pass that object to the server-side controller. From the server-side controller, get me the records, at least 10 records, and display those 10 records in the component. Like you need to display the record ID, you need to display the name, you need to display the created date. So like this, you need to display it. Like this, you need to display the information. Output should be on the component like this. That means you are getting the object name from the lightning builder. From the builder, pass it to the lightning component, the object name, and then that object name, you need to pass it to the server-side controller. That means Apex class, you need to pass it. Whatever the object name is there, you need to pass it to the Apex. From the Apex, what you need to do is collect the object name. Now you need to build a dynamic query here. Dynamic query. For a dynamic query, how you will build it? Query equal to, you will say select ID, comma, name, comma, created date. Created date from. This is inside the string. Plus concatenate with your object name. Concatenate with object name. So object name. So what will happen? It will build your query. Select ID, name. If you give a object name as a account in the Lightning Builder, so your query will be select ID, name, created date from account. If you give a opportunity, from opportunity. So automatically your query will be building there. Then give here limit 10 records. Limit 10 records. Now what you can do is you can execute this query, database.query. Execute this query and return whatever the database.query is returning, return to the Lightning component. From the Lightning component, either you can build the table, whether it is a HTML table or a Lightning table, build that and pass the data to the table and display the information here. This is usually we do it in the real time. In the real time, what we do is mostly we build Apex classes for the Lightning component as a generic. Now, whatever this query is there, this query and this logic can be used by any Apex class. If I pass any details, right? If I need a common values, like every object has a ID, name, created date, owner ID, right? These all are the common. But in case if you want a fields also, you can pass the fields from the design component. You can add one more field in the design component. One more. Here you can add it. One more you can add the design attribute, which is called as a field. Now you can specify the field, what are the field that you wanted. So in that case, what will happen is your complete query is dynamic. So field are a dynamic and object name is a dynamic. So in real time, we will implement queries like this. So that this kind of a Apex and this kind of a Lightning component can be used by any object page, any object Lightning Flexi page. Any questions on the design component? Okay, so what did we learn so far?
Lightning interface, implementing with attributes, event, method, Lightning token, custom tokens, implementing the custom token, design, Lightning design.
Lightning design. Those are the 6 topics we have seen. So that's all for today.